Hello, web design students. Welcome to week 7. Now we're going to talk about multimedia on the web. First, let's talk about audio. So audio on the web is very simple. With HTML5, we just use the audio HTML tag. Here it is, audio in your regular brackets. Let's talk about the pieces that go into this tag. Starts with src equals, and then some path in quotes. This specifies where and what file. And then their attributes. These are extra options like controls here, which shows the browser's built-in features like the play button and the elapsed time, the volume, and stuff like that. The controls will look different for every browser. So from Chrome to Firefox to Safari and wherever else, they'll have controls that look a little bit different, but all have the same kind of components. There are other attributes you can add in addition to controls. One of them is autoplay, which I strongly suggest you don't use because it's annoying. There's loop, which will do what it says. After the track is done playing, it'll loop around. You can do muted. You can do preload, which will load the file, the audio file, when the page downloads. Otherwise, the track will only play or download from the server when you actually click the play button. You can set the volume at a predetermined level. So 0 is silent, 1.0 is the loudest. That's optional. There are other audio options on the web, like SoundCloud and Spotify and such. When you go to share something on your website from SoundCloud, find the share button for the HTML goodness. You want to click embed to select your options, like large album cover, small one. You can change the colors, but the code is what you want. And the embed will look like something like this in your HTML. Notice that the automatic play button is unchecked, so don't check it. This is something called an iframe. This is what we use to do the embedding. So this is the simplest example, iframe tag in HTML, and then some source, and then some text that shows up if the iframe doesn't work. So an iframe is just a way to include a web page inside of another web page. So a SoundCloud embed or a Spotify embed, it's basically including the web page from SoundCloud into your page. It's a way to embed audio and video, as we'll see soon. So you can embed audio and video using iframes, which is the standard way to do it. So let's try it. Let's go to the example zip or use your own code, but I've included some sample media in this week's zip. So let's go have a look in Atom. So in Atom, here's our page, just to refresh what it looks like. I'll show you on the browser. A moment here. So we left off last week. Here's the page as it looks, at least my page as it looks. So we'll start adding new sections to this so that we can show you what the audio and video look like. So back to Atom. Here's my HTML. I'm going to scroll down to the bottom of the end of the section. So this is the last section. This is the whale group. I'm basically going to just add sections until we get all the content we're going to do this week. So in here, before the end of the div, I'm going to add a new section. I'll give it a class. Let's call this audio. And I want to do the same thing with our floating. So we'll call this group. We'll close this section, and then we'll add some stuff into the section. I'm going to do the same thing that we did last week, having two divs side by side. So I'll write this div here, class, let's call this audio cover. And then I'm going to have the same header, heading, paragraph, link structure as before. I'm just going to copy it just to save some time and include this group break. So I'm just going to paste this here. I'll just change this to say audio example. So right now, this is what we've added. Got section, got a div here. I'm going to just indent these so I can see what I'm doing. I'm going to select them all, press tab, that indents them. And then all of my stuff will be added in this div. So in my code, in my folders, I've added a MP3 of this coin sound. So we'll just use the audio tag, audio, src. Now, since we're in this HTML file, this index file, and the coin MP3 is in the image folder, I'll specify this as the image folder, and then I'll say coin.mp3. And I want to put controls. So I want the user to be able to press play on it. Just to show you the other options, autoplay, don't use. Loop, you can if you like. ED group we did talk about, but you can hold off on that for a while. Muted, preload, those are the main ones. So I'm just going to stick with those. And then I'm going to close the audio tag. So if we save this and refresh, go back to our website. 1, 2, 3, refresh. Now we've got our MP3 here and the extra text we just added. Right now it's not floated yet, so it doesn't look like the other one. We'll add this code in the CSS in a minute. Just make sure that this coin sound works. Let's test it. Okay, 1, 2, 3, click. And the coin sound works. Let's go back to our code. So now they'll know that this works. I'm going to demonstrate now how to embed a SoundCloud file in there. So I'm going to do it right underneath the audio file here. Then I'm going to go to SoundCloud. I already have a page lined up here. So if you go to SoundCloud and go to some track, you'll see there is some buttons here. You want to go to share because that's where the iframe is. So you click share. And then you want to go to embed. So here's the code that you need for your embed. Now it gives you some options on how to style your embed. So I have a free plan, so he only gives these two options, but you can change the color if you like. I'll stick with the regular, stick with this. And then I just want to copy this code. So I click on it and then Command C or Control C, and then that's how I get my code. And then I'll go back to Adam and paste it in underneath the first audio one that we wrote. So here's all the code here. You have to scroll to the right to see it all. And here's a trick in Adam. If you want this to all fit on the same page, go to View, toggle Soft Wrap, and now it all fits in your window. So down here is what we just added. So here's our iframe. It's all good here. So if we save this and go back to our example website, 1, 2, 3, refresh. Now we have our embed here. Now this doesn't look so great because it's not styled yet, but let's just click this to make sure it works.
Oh, Princeton Spark listeners.
Hey, there's my
You're
podcast.
about to hear
Okay, so it works.
If you have a
While we're here, we can style this up the way we had styled these previous ones with floating and widths. So let's go back to our code. Let's open up our CSS file. And we'll add the same style that we added before. So let's go here. This one was called audio cover. We floated this. Let's float this right so it's on the right side, because the last one's on the left side. We'll do width again with 40% and margin left because the one was right. So basically I'm just copying this over here and flipping it around. So we save this. That's what it looks like. Here, 3, 2, 1, refresh. Now it's sized back down to our 40% width. And this is floated now, so that's all good here. Still works.
Hello, Princeton Spark listeners.
Still works. Let's go back to our video. Or our presentation. Now let's do video. A few considerations when we do video. Depending on your content, you may not want to use a YouTube or a Vimeo embed. And browsers vary in the kind of media formats that they support. So we'll talk about that coming up. There are alternative formats to your standard like QuickTime files or MP4 files like ogvorbis.oog or webm.webm files that can be useful open source options. I use something called Miro Video Converter to convert from MP4 to WebM, or I'll use an online converter like Convergio or Zamzar. All of those work fine to convert your QuickTime files you may get from your iPhone or your MP4 files that you may get somewhere else to something that can be used on the web that's smaller and supported in more browsers. So let's talk about using video on the web. As you might have guessed, we'll use the video HTML tag to do this. It works virtually the same as the audio tag. Here's your video tag, SRC, controls, and such. Like I said, SRC works the same in audio as it does in video. The attributes are largely the same. Controls does the same thing in video as it does in audio. It gives the user the ability to press play and pause and control the volume and see how much time has elapsed. You still shouldn't use autoplay though. I strongly suggest not using autoplay. Loop does the same thing as it does in audio. Muted is a good option to use. There's a lot of data to back up using this attribute. Think about how you may consume video if you're scrolling through social media. Usually the video is muted, so they have this on their HTML5 video. Preload works the same in video. It depends on your content. If you want your user to be able to press play and see it automatically, or not use preload and then wait for your file to download when they press play in that instant. Poster is a new one we haven't talked about yet, but you can define an image to display until the video is actually played. So if there's no poster provided, the first frame of the video will be used. So you can, this is like adding a custom thumbnail to your video. It works using poster equals and then the name, the file path and the name. Or if it's not a folder, just the file name, depending on how you save your files. You can specify the height and width of the video in pixels. This is commonly used in YouTube embeds. Quick note about QuickTime videos. The .mov format may not work on Chrome depending on when you're using it. The current HTML standard only supports MP4s, WebMs, and OGG videos anyway. So if you've got QuickTime files, you may be out of luck if you're trying to use it in Chrome. So the way to get around that is to use the source tag, that is. the source tag plus multiple formats, using this code, the browser will go down until it finds something it can use, and it'll show that file. So you want to save your file in different formats so that you can accommodate different browsers. First, you have to convert your video. So I've included some videos to do using this example that I converted with Convertio. So let's just review embedding. So if you're going to YouTube, look for the share button over here, right? And then click on the embed icon over here. You don't want this. This isn't going to help. So you want to go over here to embed. And you'll see this iframe code. So you're going to copy all that and then paste this into your HTML. Vimeo has a similar process. So let's do some. Let's go to YouTube. I click on this first link here. Okay. So I want to go to share. Click share. And then I want the embed icon over here. Click embed. And then you can either select out here or press copy. You want to show the player controls. This is important. So I'll click copy. And then we'll go back to Atom. Back to our HTML. Now I want to add a new section, just like we did before. So a new section, let's call it video group. Oops. Let's call this video cover. So I'm going to paste this audio or this YouTube. So here is the YouTube iframe here, width and height. You don't really have to mess with any of this right now. Just paste it in as it is. Let's just grab some of this text here from the previous one just to make it all even. We'll paste this in over here. I'll just change this to video example. So then we've saved this. We can go to our example website. 1, 2, 3, refresh. And now we have a video that we've embedded using YouTube. Again, we haven't fully this yet, so it doesn't show up over here yet. But we have a YouTube embed now. Now, if you don't want to use YouTube, you want to embed the video directly. Let's go back to our code. And above this YouTube video, we'll add our other video. So I've included one in the folder of the example file. So all we need to do is click video. Let's start using source. I put the videos in the IMG folder. So IMG, we'll do cat.mp4. Use controls, and then closing our video tag. So here again, video, src, img, that's img folder that it's in, cat.mp4. You want to use the controls attribute so that your user can press play on the video and stop the video whenever they want, and then closing tag here. So let's save this and go back to our example website. So we should get a video show up above the YouTube video. 3, 2, 1, refresh. Oh, and here it is, but it's really big, so we'll have to size this down using a CSS. So here's my old dearly departed cat Snagglepuss. Let's go to our CSS and style this up. Back to our CSS. In here, video cover, float left, width 40% again, and then margin right. Give ourselves a little bit of room. Save this. Back to our example website. 3, 2, 1, refresh. Oh, it didn't work. Uh-oh. We need to do a little more styling to get this to fit. So if you remember, when we first brought in this right whale picture, it was super huge, and we had to add some style to it to wrangle it down to this manageable size. We have to do the same thing for this video here. So back to our code one more time. In our CSS, we have to do this kind of thing with the arrow. So here we'll do .video cover space arrow, another space, video. Curly brackets. Then we want to do the same thing with 100%, so it stays 100% of this 40%. So with 100%, save, back to our page, 3, 2, 1, refresh, and now it's shrunken down to fit here. And this is actually not completely lined up with our 40%. So how do we fix this? Go back to our code. We want to tell our browser that everything inside of video cover should be this 100% of the 40%. So what we can do is add comma iframe, so that this iframe is also with the 100% of this 40%. So save, back to our page, 3, 2, 1, refresh. Now they're all lined up nicely. So what happens is this video is 100% of this 40%, and our iframe is 100% of this 40% of the page. So that's audio and video. Just to make sure that it works, we can click play. It's hard to hear, but there is a little bit of sound of Kitty washing himself. And then this one works. So now that we know that these work, we should go back into the code and use multiple versions, multiple formats of this video so that it'll accommodate different browsers. If we go back to our code, we can add it in between our video tags here. First, we delete this in favor of the source tag. So I'll just start more lines here. Source, oops, src, the folder location, and then we need to add a special attribute called type. This is just saying that this is a video for the browser. So we put video, oops, video / MOV, and the tag here. Again, for our MP4 file, that is, type equals video / MP4, so that the browser knows what it is. And then one more, source, src equals img / cat webm, wemb, type equals video, webm. So if we save this, go back to our code or our page, 1, 2, 3, refresh. Now that we're assured that a compatible version of the video will show up in Chrome. You can also check in, and we got a working video here. And that is audio and video on the web.